Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. My name's 3-Chord Dave. We're going to talk about Epiphone today. They're making some mistakes. Yes folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is 3-Chord Dave and today we're talking about Epiphone. The past, the future, the current, all the mistakes they're making, all this stuff. It's crazy. Mostly we're going to talk about pricing and how it's changing and changed and all that sort of stuff. And we're going to talk about models that are coming soon. So stay tuned to the end of the video if you want to hear about all of those. You know that I love you, by the way, right? You know I love you. So if you could show me some love in return by hitting that like button and the subscribe button and going down and joining Patreon, that'd be great. You could also buy 3-Chord Dave t-shirts. You can hit the links in the description when you're shopping for like guitar related stuff on Amazon and all those kind of places. Yeah, do the things and, you know, support the channel. That'd be great. But mostly make sure you're subscribed. So let's just get this out of the way. Epiphone's one of my favorite guitar companies. They've always been one of my favorites. I love them. I think Epiphones are brilliant. One of my favorite guitars that I've ever owned is my Epiphone SG Special with P90s and faded Pelham Blue. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you're probably sick of me saying that, but it's true. This is a €329 guitar and it's absolutely phenomenal. Brilliant, wouldn't change a thing about it. And that came about when Gibson was taken over in 2019 and they quickly put in place some very cool people and made some changes to all the lineups, all the ranges that they were selling. Like for example, one of the big changes they made was with Epiphone. They changed from the ugly headstock to the much better, much more beautiful Kalamazoo style headstock. Very cool. Kind of headstock that was on the Beatles Epiphones, by the way, before anyone gets all, but I liked the old headstock. You're wrong. So there you go. Still love you, but you're wrong. So yeah, they made that change. I thought that was brilliant. Inspired. Brilliant. Loved it. Inspired by Gibson range, then came out, you had all these kind of guitars that were, you know, direct models. There was no G400s anymore. There was SGs, that kind of thing. I like it. I like what they're doing. But there was then, later that year, there was like some rumblings came around. Epiphones going to be getting expensive. Didn't believe it. Just passed it off. Didn't even make any videos about it. But then one of the guitars that ranges that I was really excited about was this Epiphone Slash Les Paul collection. The reason being, I'm a big Slash fan. I've been a Slash fan since I was like 7 or 8 years old, and I'm old now, so it's been a long time. And even with these guitars, I was excited about them. I was tracking down every last detail of information I could find. And finally, about 6 weeks before anyone else had the information on YouTube, I had all of the specs for the guitar and the pricing, and still about 800 people viewed that video, so you know, it didn't go too well. But that's being a YouTuber these days. Anyways, with that information, $899 those came out at. I thought that was ridiculous for the specs that guitar had. Yes, it came in a hard shell case, but the case candy was exactly what you get with every other Epiphone. A flipping sticker, maybe 2 stickers and a poster. That's not great, that's not great. But anyway, they were too expensive, I thought, for what they were. Even though I love Slash, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Now today, you can go and buy one of those guitars for $5.99 at home, and I think that's a great price for that guitar. I have other guitars on my wish list right now, so I'm not going to buy one, but I think it's a good price and we'll see what happens. Now, over the last couple of years though, we have seen still more high prices, what I think are kind of crazy prices from Epiphone. I made a video on the 25th of April last year about the Jerry Cantrell Epiphone, the Prophecy one, the white one, which is a, you know, nice guitar. If you're into that sort of thing, Jerry Cantrell, very cool dude, of course, from Alice in Chains. And that guitar is significant in a lot of ways, but mostly because it came in at a price point of $11.99. Now, $11.99 is more than $1,000, which a lot of people would have had that mental barrier paying for Epiphones for a good reason. It's a budget brand, and budget brands don't cost more than $1,000. But they do now. So that was one. And if you just think about it, like, they've really gone through. And in that video I made, I made a point of saying Epiphones are going to be more expensive. They're going to be $1,400, $1,500. Now, I remember one comment in particular, I'm not going to bring up or say, you know, on the screen or nothing, but it was basically saying, this guy's talking a load of BS. Who's talking BS now? So, anyway, Shortly afterwards, we had a slew of plus $1,000 guitars. The Joe Bonamassa 64 335. I thought that was a beautiful guitar, really nice. Would have been interested in it at $9.99 or below. Came in at $12.99, just could not pull the trigger on it. Like some people will know, I was standing by on the release day for that guitar, and then it was $12.99. I was like, no, I'm just not paying that much for it. The Adam Jones Art Collection. Differentiating the Epiphones from the Gibsons because they were its own thing. It meant people who owned the Gibson Adam Jones collection, if you're a big Adam Jones fan or whatever, you wanted the full set of the guitars, you're going to have to now buy the Adam Jones Epiphone collection because they're different. They have artwork on the back. The first two batches of 800 guitars worldwide sold out in minutes. They couldn't get one for love nor money. They were $1,299 and they sold out in a flash. The third and fourth version of those guitars are still available today. They came out and nobody really cares. Maybe because of pricing. Here in Europe, at least at Thomann, $14.99 was the third one and $15.99 the fourth one came out at. Now, I think we're actually due another Adam Jones Epiphone art collection very soon. Be interesting to see what the pricing comes to that. If they come back down to $12.99 in Europe, I think they'll sell more. But if they keep them at those prices, and I know in the US they can still be got at $12.99. They're not selling there either, so I'm not sure, but maybe just the love has gone for those already. Stretching out a release over a year might not have been the greatest idea of all time. But hey, who am I to say? A guitar that, two guitars that I think were very cool were the Explorer and the Flying V. Of course, the 58 Carina versions that they brought out. Now, I will give them kudos. They made a very nice package for those guitars in terms of the case that they came in. Very nice. They're missing some things they could have thrown in as case candy. You got the very same crap that you get with every other Epiphone guitar, a couple of stickers and a poster, because that's what you want. But the case, the interior of the case and everything is great, the guitars and stuff. The Gibson versions of those guitars when they came out had two variants of like the pickguards and plastics. You got the black and the white version. But no, in Epiphone you just get one or the other. So anyway, those were very expensive, I think, for what they were, but still kind of cool at the same time. I want to talk as well though about these Dave Mustaines, because to me that's when they really jumped the shark, because the custom Dave Mustaine, that's the black one by the way, that is $15.99 at Thomann. I think it's bananas. And but even more bananas is the Dave Mustaine Prophecy. That's the red one. That's $17.99 in euros. Now, exchange rates and everything will come into play here, but you're touching $2,000 at that, which I feel is excessive for Epiphones. And I'll tell you why. That's Gibson money. It's good Gibson money. It's not premium level, it's not custom shop level, but if you go on Reverb and you search for Gibson Les Paul, Gibson Flying V, Gibson SG, you can get some really nice guitars for that money on the second-hand market. Or you can buy a new Epiphone. Me personally, I'm never buying that Epiphone if I can get a Gibson for the same price. It doesn't matter to me that it's second-hand. In fact, it probably means it's been all the issues have been taken care of. So I'm a big fan of looking through the second-hand market before spending that money. But I'm also wondering, look, PRS a couple of years ago brought out a $1,500 SE guitar, okay? It was the hollow body SE hollow body 2 with the piezo system. They initially brought that out at $14.99. Me and a few other people online were like, are they crazy bringing out an SE budget guitar for $14.99? And you know what PRS did? They went, you're probably right, let's try and reduce the price down. They brought it down, I think, to $12.99 first, and then they are now available under $1,000 from that recollection. You do not see Fender Squires. I know I triggered some people by saying Fender Squire. I apologize. You do not see Squires for like $1,500. You just don't see it. They get up to a certain price and that's it. Even their special editions. It doesn't happen. And there's a reason, because when they get to a certain price, they start calling them Fenders. It's that simple, because you're paying for the name at that point. So Epiphones being in the Gibson money range, I think's crazy. Now, we have some guitars coming that we know are coming, and we have some others that I think we can speculate are coming too. And I wonder where they're going to be. Now, given the fact that those Mustaines, by the way, are not selling, nobody's crazy enough. I mean, you might be, I don't know. Very few people, considering what they were expecting, are paying that money for the Mustaines. Now, the Kramers are selling quite well, but they're a little bit cheaper. But the Epiphones at $15.99, $17.99. And I know they're slightly cheaper in the US, but here in Europe anyway. But they're not selling very well, those expensive ones. That's the point I'm trying to make. But we do have more guitars coming from Epiphone soon. A lot of signature stuff coming. So what we know, Marty Schwartz. Now, I will never say a bad word about Marty Schwartz. I think he's great. A lot of people pick up the guitar because of Marty Schwartz. A lot of people keep playing their guitars because of Marty Schwartz. And a lot of people get into and stick with playing guitar because of Marty Schwartz. I think Marty's great. I love him. Super cool guy. And he's getting an Epiphone signature model, which is coming out next month in August. Rumors to be $799, which is interesting because remember I said Slash's signatures are $599 right now, and Marty Schwartz's is going to be more expensive. Now his is an ES335, very nice guitar, very nice guitar. There is Epiphone 335s, I think they're around $599 at the minute, so it's a couple of $100 premium for a signature guitar. I think it's a smart move actually having an Epiphone signature for YouTubers. I think that's a really good idea because young people watch the YouTubes, and Marty is somebody that they can follow and be like, yeah, this guy's going to teach me guitar as well on YouTube. So yeah, big fan of that, and I think it's a good idea. $799 is not the worst pricing, so we'll let them slide on that. Be interested to see what pickups are in it. I think he said I'll go 2s, but we'll still have to see. There's more Adam Jones art collections, as I said. We're due one, I think this month. Yeah, I think this month. Maybe, yeah, this month. So keep an eye out for that. I'm interested to see how it sells and what price it comes out at. If they bring the price in Europe back to $12.99, that'll be an indication that they're watching what's going on. But I do think that they're making up BS about there being extra taxes or shipping fees. There isn't. That's not true. There was no reason for them to be more expensive. The other companies aren't more expensive here, so they shouldn't be either. So anyway, we'll see how those go and whether maybe it's the artwork that's not letting those sell. I think for a guitar that only has 800 models worldwide of, you know, each print, I'm very surprised they're not selling, but they're not. We've got Greenie coming. Now the Epiphone Greenie is going to be interesting because I think it's going to be pretty much the USA standard version that came out, which I think are 3,000, 3,300 or something like that. And they're pretty much just Les Paul fadeds with different pickups. So let's be clear on that. They're not, I wasn't blown away by those. Now, if we get something like that from Epiphone, I can't see them pushing the price boundary, but look at the Adam Jones pricing. They're up to $15.99 in Europe, and they've got a Seymour Duncan pickup. So yeah, probably one of those price ranges, $1,400, $1,500, if it's just a faded Les Paul. We'll see what they do though. We also were probably going to get a Kirk Hammett Flying V at some point. Again, I don't think they're going to actually do an aged Kirk Hammett Flying V, but I wouldn't be surprised to see just a replica of the one that came out, the Gibson one that came out that was 10 grand. That'll be fun. I'd like to see what they do with that. And of course, the big one that everyone's talking about, the Dave Grohl DG335. What price is that coming in at, and will it sell? It'll probably sell because Dave Grohl is probably the one guitar that it's hugely in demand. People have been screaming at them to bring out an Epiphone version of this for years, and they're finally doing it now. There is that one black and white photo of Dave holding the Epiphone version of his guitar. Some people tried to colorize the black and white photo, everybody, and saying that it's the gold version. Those colorized things, don't buy into it. I think it's going to be the blue one. Tell you what you do, take a color picture with Dave playing the blue one and take all the color out and have a black and white photo. It'll look exactly the same. I think we're getting the blue one. We might also get the gold one, but we're definitely going to get the blue one, in my opinion. But are those guitars going to hit $2,000? I would hazard a guess, sometime this year, we're going to see an Epiphone hit $2,000. And that to me is ridiculous and crazy. Budget brands are there for a reason. People who are buying budget brands are not in the $2,000 area of price point for guitars. And Gibson know this, because when Cesar had his Instagram Ask Me Anything a few months ago, One of the things that was asked was, hey, can you make Gibsons cheaper so I can afford more? And his answer was simply Epiphone. So if he knows you can't afford a Gibson, you're going to buy an Epiphone, you've got to start making Epiphones, or keep Epiphones, put Epiphones again in the more affordable price ranges. You'll sell more, and the guitars will be loved by a lot of people. Because I will say this about Epiphone, they're making very good guitars. They're not perfect, but they're making some very good guitars. And I do, again, I love Epiphone as a brand, and I always have, and I think they do great stuff. And I'm excited for the models that are coming out, even the ones that haven't been announced yet and that are coming soon, and I will be talking about soon. I'm excited for a lot of the stuff they're doing, but the pricing is out of control. They need to stop it. But let me know what you think of Epiphone right now. Do you like the guitars they're bringing out? Do you like the pricing? Do you think it's appropriate? Have you bought any of these super expensive Epiphones? What I think are super expensive for Epiphones. Or would you rather spend $1,799 of your dollars, of your euros, of your pounds on brands like Gibson or PRS or Fender? Because to me, I would buy all of those brands before I would buy an Epiphone for that price. Anyway guys, thank you so much for joining me and listening to my rant about this sort of stuff. If you're out there, Cesar, let's talk about Epiphone and what you're doing, because I think you're doing cool stuff, but I also think you need a reality check. Thanks so much for joining me guys. I've been 3 Chord Dave. I'll be back with another guitar related video very soon. But until then, take care.